And happy Friday, PSWs and friends across Ontario and Canada. And happy wintry day. We are PSW Podcast. My name is Miranda Delanovic, CEO of the Ontario PSW Association and the Canadian Support Workers Association, and host a PSW podcast where we come live to you guys every single Friday at 11 a.m. We talk about everything PSW, but primarily we talk about the gray area. But today is an exciting day. I'm joined by my co-host, as usual, Ian De Silva, who is our Chief Operating Officer of both OPSWA and CANSWA. And today we are talking about two very important things. We're talking about our new specialization for autism, and we're also talking about 2025 as a whole, aren't we, Ian?
We are indeed, actually. It's going to be a big year for PSWs, and it was a big year for PSWs. It's going to be a big one going forward too. So yes.
Absolutely. So to get the ball rolling, let's talk about our new autism specialization. It is called PSW, the Autism Community Support Provider. This is a specialization that the association has been in demand for, I would have to say, for probably about a good year, where a lot of PSWs and employers have been asking us for more of a specialization, more rounded training for the PSW in relation to autism. Because I think we're finding more and more PSWs are working with those on the autism spectrum, where it be children or adults with ASD. And so we've created this program that is a 1 day. It starts at 9 a.m. We don't know what time it's going to go to right now because there's a lot of training in that day. But we have a very in-depth look at autism. We're looking at mental health because, as we all know, if you have autism, you just don't have autism. You have autism's the umbrella over top of ADHD, OCD, bipolar, BPD, depression. The list goes on and on and on and on. And so we talk about mental health in it, as well as de-escalation. So how to handle, sensitive situations for the PSW or the client at the time, how to deal with an episode of somebody who, has huge behaviors with autism. And of course, we actually have a new partner called Apollo Canada that is a medical cannabis company. And they're actually going to be coming in and talking about medical marijuana and autism. So it's really an interesting course in itself. It's all
It's going to
rounded
be
out. Yeah.
it's going to be a good course. It's absolutely, and it is needed. But I think what the main market, I think that reason why we're really doing this is there's a large gap we're seeing in the care population for those who are dealing in this with the autistic population. Thousands of families don't have access to care, and we noticed that it seems to be most families they want to go to specialized behavioral. The term escapes me. Forgive me.
Therapist.
Therapists.
Therapist.
Sorry, Friday. They want to go to behavioral therapists, but a lot of the things that families are needing, correct me if I'm wrong, is that more respite supports, the day-to-day operations, like the kind of that ongoing support. And
Oh,
this will help with that.
absolutely. Like in teaching activities of daily living. So, like life skills for these
Yes.
individuals, especially the young adults on the autism spectrum, because I find that so much attention was focused when they were younger on their behaviors that they don't actually learn the day-to-day things that we all do for ourselves. And I'll give an example is, and many of you watching this know my son is 21. He has Asperger's, he has autism, and he has ADHD and anxiety and depression. And it's been a real battle for Catcher
Yeah.
over the years to get where he is today. But I have a godsend of an OPSWA PSW named Crystal, who actually takes him for respite 3 times a week. And she works very much with him on life skills, also explaining how the real world works. Because unfortunately, I think, like Catcher was in high school and then COVID hit, so he didn't go to school. And so there wasn't that socialization aspect. And then therapy fell through, and then he had a mental health crisis. So, I mean, this guy's been through the mill over the
He's been
last
through.
10 years.
Yeah.
Absolutely. But he's coming out and he's coming out swinging. So I'm really proud of him. But without Crystal, I mean, I really know what caregiver burnout feels like, compassion burnout. I have it. My whole
Mhm.
family has it because, and it's no fault of his, but it's a lot. And so,
And no, and I think that's the whole concept here. Is this is the key element that we saw in those reports coming in from the Ministry of Community Social Services with the autistic care shortages. These are families across Ontario that best intentions, but they are dealing with compassion exhaustion.
Oh,
And
it's
it is a completely normal, understandable thing to do. So by enabling PSWs to start filling that gap, they can access passport funding, is my understanding as well. I mean, if the families can use this. So as we build this population of PSWs with the autism specialists, this will be a new niche market for a lot of these individuals to start supporting these families and offering that respite care like Crystal offers.
oh,
We need
exactly. I mean,
lots of crystals, I think, is
we need
what
lots and lots of crystals, and there are a lot of them out there.
there are. Absolutely,
There
yes.
absolutely is, and I think that's another thing about, we kind of want to drag this misconception about PSWs under the mat, where people only think that PSWs work with geriatric, that's
True.
it. We only work in
Yeah.
long-term care and home care with geriatric patients. You're wrong.
Not true. Not true.
PSWs work with everyone from, pregnant mothers all the way up to 150 years old. And then I always say after 150, they're on their own. We're done.
We have our
But
limits, I guess,
we
right?
have our limits. 150, we're finished. But I
Fair
mean,
enough.
it's one of those things where, PSWs, like you said, Ian, really can kind of slide into that role for Ontarians that are absolutely desperate for help. I mean, it's, you don't need to have that behavioral therapist, and not to downplay them because they're phenomenal.
No, 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 no,
But
no, no, no.
but I mean, to have, it's almost like building your own care team.
But there's not enough of them. That's the problem.
Yeah, I know.
That's,
There's
I mean,
really
there's not
not.
enough behavioral therapists. I mean, that's why there's such a shortage, right? So that Baxter, you're saying building your own care team. Yeah, that's what you need to do.
Yeah,
And having
yeah.
a worker that speaks very pragmatically about situations, not necessarily very academic, can sometimes be a
No,
barrier
exactly,
to care.
exactly.
Yeah.
It is a boundary. And I found that with Ketcher. I mean, obviously through the years, Ketch did have, behavioral therapists. We had like a speech pathologist. He had a psychotherapist. And I have found that the PSW actually does the most work, intensive work, on a more broader scale with him. So, like it's very niche when you're dealing with behavioral therapists, speech pathologists, psychotherapists. It's very niche. Whereas the
Yeah.
PSW is kind of like, okay, you want to cook? I mean, this is a true story. She says to my son, "Do you want to cook? Great, you can cook, but you got to clean up."
Dun, dun.
Right? Which is always like, oh,
Well, don't
you
keep me
know.
in suspense. What was the reaction? Did he
Oh,
cook?
that it wasn't the best reaction because, God forbid, because he says he gets overwhelmed and can't handle it or whatever. But those are the steps that they work through. And I mean, she has the patience of
Exactly.
a saint. I mean, honestly, most PSWs do patience of saints, but I don't for my own child. But I do for
Well,
a lot of
I
people.
think that's a lot of parents.
I know, but
Speaking,
then
I
that's
think
why
that's
I
a lot.
feel that's why I feel for the parents out there that can't get that help and don't realize that they have a slew of PSWs at their fingertips that they can bring into the home for respite, that they can bring it into the home for, life skills. And they're affordable. The PSWs are affordable. That's another barrier that we hear from families is they can't afford these therapists. They're so expensive.
I do not have the answer to this question, but for example, if you were an average family and you're getting passport funding, how many hours of a PSW versus how many hours of a behavioral therapist?
Well, yeah, it's different,
Like, is
right?
there a lot more? Like, I don't know. Do you know
There's a
off the?
lot more
I
hours
don't.
for a PSW. There's a lot more hours for a PSW than there would be a behavioral therapist.
So you'd have a lot
Absolutely.
more
I'll
comprehensive.
tell you what I paid. I paid a
I'm
hundred.
asking. I don't know the. I don't know the
No,
answer to
no,
this. Yeah,
absolutely.
sorry.
I paid $165 an hour. That's what I paid.
Wow.
And for my PSW, I paid 25.
So basically, 5 hours to one is 6 hours to one ratio. You're right. It is a more perhaps more pragmatic use of some resources. Again, this is not, and this is if you can't get behavioral therapists and things like this is not a replacement of
Oh gosh,
this.
no, you need the
No,
entire, like I said,
you
building the
need the
house there
team.
for your care team. You got to build it. But, I think families don't realize that they can actually really rely on the personal support worker and that, our knowledge base is extremely vast. And, and we're the more, like you said, pragmatic, realistic, hands-on workers
Yeah,
that can really dive deep with, especially I find where it works great, honestly, is young adult. Like
yeah,
that's where I'm seeing like my son's come a long way. He still has a long way to go, but I'm seeing that exchange and that confidence in him grow a little bit here and there. I mean, obviously a lot of pushback, but which is normal. But I mean, that's where I see where it really shines. And then, of course, we have our mental health community support, where we do support groups still once a week for individuals on the autism spectrum, young adults, 18 plus. And we hear from them that they can't find supports either, and a lot of them are looking for support. And just that, even to them saying you can get a PSW, they're going,
They didn't
and
know.
didn't even think of it. Didn't even think of it. And it's like
Because
there's a lot of us.
PSWs only work in long-term care in hospitals. And we see that, like, look for your chat, like when you do your the podcasts and things on TikTok, everyone's always applying long-term care in hospital. It's like, guys, there's a whole world out there of jobs and need.
Huge. I
And
mean, the
this is a
coolest
brand
thing.
new one.
Yeah,
This this is
yeah.
a brand new area. Not that the PSWs are thinly stretched, but there are opportunities. This is also an opportunity. This, again, back to what we were saying earlier. This is an opportunity, and we're very much hoping it to be an opportunity to specialize, career growth. Not everything can be. If you're not interested in doing into nursing, those of you who are great, go for it. But for those who want to stay as a PSW, specialization is going to be the future of this profession.
Well, and I say that all the time. Like I think I was a bit ahead of the curve with a bunch of my colleagues way back in the day, because I've been at this June of 2026. I celebrate 20 years of being a PSW, and which is amazing to me.
Very good.
And I know I'm like, what? Like, where did time go? But when you're busy fighting for PSWs, yeah, it kind of flies. Not gonna lie. But I mean, I did mental health. That was my niche when I worked as a PSW, and I did a lot of micro credentialing and a lot of I went to CAMH and had a lot of courses through them that were online. McMaster University has a great lineup of micro credentials for mental health as well. And I just took whatever course or seminar or workshop I could get my bloody hands on, and I was hired in a mental health capacity in home care. And I mean, I have some stories, let me tell you. And you got to be prepared, because it's not all dementia. Like, a lot of people think, oh, mental health is just dementia and Alzheimer's. Oh, heck to the no. You're dealing with everything from schizophrenia to bipolar to, autism to, you're dealing with everything under
Everything.
the sun
Brain
when it
injury,
comes to it. Brain injury. Oh, yeah.
like,
Like a PTSD with the soldiers. Like, a lot of stuff.
there's
There's
a
a
lot. It
lot
is
of stuff. Hmm.
There's spectrums within spectrums. That's the
Yeah.
truth of dealing with this population in mental health. It's incredibly, and in the need for attentive services at that level, at all those levels, is just
And
crazy.
not
And they're
clinical,
not. No
like
one's
you've
getting
said
it.
before, but you've said before, Ian, like, and not clinical. Like, there's PSWs, we kind of play that space between clinical and non-clinical with how we do things, right? And
Translators,
yes, and not everybody needs that clinical level of help,
no.
and sometimes they need both. But it's, we kind of play that divide. But I mean,
Well,
they can
yeah.
they can specialize, Ian, in anything, really.
Well, really, yeah. I mean, if you look at our standard of practice, theoretically, one can specialize in, well, not all of them, but specifically, and create a great deal of them. So, but no, but I think autism specialist is an important one. We have there's dementia care specialist that's been around for a while, but I think this new one is going to be important. It's also an opportunity to support our population in Ontario, and the services. This is not costing anything more. It's just a more efficient use of existing services for families.
Absolutely. And letting them know that they're not an asylum. You can look outside for other workers that can work with those with autism. I mean, and for
Well
and
said. That's true. Yes,
exactly. And
very
my
true.
thing
Yeah.
too, though, is I will say, yes, this is only for OPSWA members. The reason for that is because OPSWA members have the insurance. We do criminal background checks on them every single year. It's only for OPSWA members, and it's $129.99. And you get a full day's training, you get a certificate, and you get a new badge that identifies you as that specialization as well. So you'll have your PSW, but you'll also have your autism specialization on your badge, which I think is really, really cool. Um, and
And
yeah,
we'll be
so
working.
go ahead.
No, we'll be working as an association to start reaching out to those people who need that as well, to start connecting the new population of PSWs to the community that needs. That's our role. So
We're going to be talking to the Ministry of Community and Social Services in the new year. So I mean, right there, we're
Right.
talking to the director of autism. So that's really important as well. So PSWs, get ready because we're pushing in that direction, whether you want it to go that in that direction or not. And I know a lot of you do, and I think that it's a great opportunity. But let's talk about now about 2025, Ian, and the year of 2025. Just for everyone watching, this is our last PSW podcast of the year. As of after this, the association's actually going on. I don't want to say vacation because that's not really the case at all. We're kind of going on call until
Yeah.
January 5th of 2026, so we can have some downtime.
Yeah, the team will be around. The memberships are open. Everything is open. Just you might not be able to get us on email right away.
Yeah, or
Just
email or and our chats on the website are going to be shut down on Christmas Eve and on Christmas Day.
Christmas Day. Yeah.
Yeah, so that we actually have that break in that
Yeah, and
time so we can be with our families.
just a little bit of a break for the team. But otherwise, yes, feel free to join. And if there's resources, everything will be active on page. But we'll be stepping into the shadows for a few days just for the
And
holidays.
also
But
too, remember guys, I'm still live on TikTok every single evening right
every
now up
day.
until December 24th.
So
And
yes,
we have because we're doing OPSWA PSW member giveaways. And we are giving away an ornament, PSW ornament to one lucky viewer on the live every single night. So I will still
great.
be doing TikToks until next week. And that's fine. I absolutely love going out there and talking to our TikTok community. The PSWs are always so engaged and they have so many questions and they just absolutely love what we're giving away. But 2025, the
2025. Let's
PSW.
talk. Yes. So what happened in 2025? What were the highlights of 2025?
Well, we're not dead. So that's a
That's
positive.
true.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
that is something to look forward to. But at the end of the day, I think this has been actually quite it's been a strange year for PSWs. It's been pivotal but quiet,
Yeah.
but yet there's been a lot of underwater, I think I'm right, changes that seem to
Yeah.
be seismic changes that are happening. I don't know. I'm being very cryptic. Forgive me. The profession of the PSW is actually starting to begin to mature now and crystallize as an element in not only Ontario but across Canada. It looks like so. It's been a long fight, but it is starting. And let's talk about Ontario. What happened here?
Well, in Ontario, the HESCA-POA, which is the
The
regulatory
Hescapoa.
body for PSWs, started registering a year ago, started registering personal support workers under their registry. At that time, there was a different CEO. We did not work with HESCA-POA, but since that time, there is now a new CEO who I interviewed here last Friday. And we are
Yes.
working very closely with the HESCA-POA and the Ministry of Health to ensure that, to hopefully ensure that this is done appropriately and properly for all the PSWs in the province of Ontario. So that's a promising thing. I think a
Yes.
second thing as well, Ian, is our advocacy. We're back at it.
Oh, yes. We've had to come right back into the advocacy and start making some of those uncomfortable conversations public again.
Yes, and I've enjoyed it immensely. I think, we did take a break. We were really busy with the I'm a PSW campaign for about 2 years. And once that stopped, we were able to come back flying on advocacy. I know that I've heard from a lot of PSW members that they are very happy that we're saying these things again publicly. As you guys well know, we always talk about the gray area, the things that nobody really wants to talk about, but we just say it because at the end of the day, there's accountability that needs to be taken and changes need to be made still in the PSW world. But I will say, I sat back last night, Ian, and I thought to myself, I don't remember a time when PSWs were so together.
No, not like they are now, and it is very refreshing to see that there is some positiveness and there is positive change coming.
Huge
Yeah,
positive change coming down the pipeline. I mean, there's going to be a lot of changes, PSWs. There's going to be a lot of bumps and whines and uh, perhaps wars in our horizon a little bit. But the association is steadfast in our dedication and our loyalty to the PSWs of this province and across Canada, and we will not give up until you guys get everything that you deserve. Now, if one person says wages to me, I'm going to throw my computer. We don't deal in wages. That is
we
not
do
us
though.
at all.
We actually are theoretically, so just to clarify, we actually all advocate for a living wage of PSWs, but I have said this 22,000, 5,000 million times. PSW wages and your wages will continue to be suppressed as long as non-PSWs compete for your jobs. You need to join OPSWA. You need to join your professional association to separate those who are PSWs from those who are not. Until we do this, your wages will be suppressed. It is that simple.
Yeah,
And I think this is what we're really going to see in 2026 is for those PSWs who are complaining, and we get it every day. I'm going to go off on a tangent, sorry. But we get it every
please.
day. No, we get this every day and at the office. So I'm not making enough money. I'm not making enough money. I'm not making enough money. Well, why are you making enough money? The reason you're not making enough money, and I just said it, is because employers have the ability to hire somebody who's not a PSW for a few dollars less an hour, and you have to compete against it. I've had conversations with PSWs across Ontario, and I'm like, you need to. That's why we're trying to collectivize this, not collectivize, but bring an association of a collegiate of PSWs together to separate those who are versus are not.
Hmm.
And it's an uphill battle. So
Yeah.
for those who are complaining about your wages, I hate to put it on you, but you need to join your professional association. This is what every other profession does. And 2026 will be the year of the rally of PSWs together. One
Think
of them.
so. It's
I hope.
already, I think it's, I know, I think it's already happening. The PSWs are collectively coming together
Absolutely, yeah.
and saying, like there are big changes on the horizon. And I always say that nobody understands a PSW better than a PSW. And so
Nope.
they're going to want to be around their peers.
Yep.
And their colleagues and have that support while these changes are occurring. Eventually the HESCAPOA will become mandatory, guys. Eventually, there will be a public protection put in place. So those of you that are floating around that have a criminal record and you're floating from job to job and you think you can get away with it, well, that's not going to happen for much longer.
Your
That is
time
not
is
going to
running out,
happen.
guys.
No, it's not going to happen for much longer. So it's, for us as PSWs that actually went to school, did our course, paid money for it, have a certificate to say as such, and do our jobs every single day, it is such a slap in the face when these people don't want it. They don't want that. They don't want that title protection.
They
Because
don't want
again,
it.
guys, title protection means that not just anyone can call themselves a PSW. I was saying it last night on TikTok. Nurses, no one can just call themselves a nurse. It is actually illegal
It's
to call
illegal.
yourself a nurse if you're not actually a nurse. So
Absolutely.
we want that same protections on the PSW. Because right now, your aunt, your uncle, your best friend, your fish's babysitter can call themselves a PSW, and there's nothing we can do about that.
Your school that graduated you can't help. The school that you went to, even the school, all the educations are all great. They can't guarantee you anything.
No,
It's up to the profession itself, and that's what we're trying to stimulate. It is up to us as PSWs. I'm an honorary PSW, but two, we have to come together, and I think that's how we're going to get wages up in this country for PSW.
wages up, hopefully more full time hours, more
Well,
steady career paths.
there's
You know,
thousands of people that are working as PSWs right now that are taking money from the system that should not be doing so. These are people that we don't know what they're doing. We don't even know if they're on T4 reporting income. They're working for agencies. They could be being paid cash. We don't know. So we're competing against that. It's really fun.
I mean, well, it's a
Sorry,
nonstop battle, right? At the
it never
association,
stops.
it never stops. I mean, it's always one thing or another or another or another. Um, it's just one of those things where we will never stop fighting because there's
No,
always something else that pops up. And that's going back to the whole thing where people like we honestly as PSW should have been regulated a lot earlier. Because
earlier.
now I actually pity the Hescapoa because there is so many layers to the personal support worker that I don't know how they're going to do this. I
Well,
really don't.
they have to sit up.
I'm gung ho to work with the Hescapoa and their CEO Trevor Lee in order to get this done properly. Absolutely, but I don't know how they're going to do it, Ian. I keep
Well,
trying to
considering
figure it
that
out.
long-term care itself doesn't really have a lot of safeguards around who is a PSW or not. I mean, at the end of the day, the PSW is determined by the Human Resource Division, which is one or two people working, and they have to make that assessment, and they take all the risk. I mean, it's very out of date. This is extremely out of date practices, and those practices are continued by Ontario Health at Home. They don't
I
require
know, I
anything. It's
know.
like So if you think you're being,
You know what,
but we're
Ian, at
going to
the end
work
of
to
the
change
day,
it, Miranda.
we're gonna change it. But I mean, at the end of the day, you gotta it's like that battle of us saying PSWs are not caregivers. Because we aren't.
We're
So
not
we got to
caregivers.
stop being clumped into that caregiver role.
We're not
We sure
caregivers.
we play the role of a caregiver,
We
sorta,
we provide
sorta.
care,
We
but we
provide
are
care.
not caregivers. Caregivers are
No,
family members, members of friends and family that help you out in the community. That's what a caregiver is. They're not paid. If you're a paid caregiver, you're a PSW.
yeah,
Or
yeah,
you're now a healthcare worker. Once you get
yeah.
paid to do a caregiving role, you're a professional healthcare worker. Sorry. If you get paid $10 to dance on stage and you're an actor, same for PSWs.
Yeah, it's like when my
Like
son used to paint.
you're
He
professional.
sold
Yeah.
paintings. He was a professional artist.
Once you
He
sell
sold
something, you're a
paintings.
professional. And these people are like, well, I'm a paid caregiver. It's an oxymoron. You're being
Oh, it
paid to
is.
love. Sorry, I didn't want to say that, but
No, I know, but it's at the end of the day, it's we're not caregivers. The personal support worker is a niche. The personal support worker is a specialized healthcare role. It is one of the hardest. And I'm going to say again, even though I know I'm going to get blasted for this, because last time I said it, the PSW is blasted. One of the most dangerous jobs in
it is a
healthcare.
dangerous job.
And
It
it,
is a
it
dangerous job.
is. We have the statistics, guys. It is one of the most dangerous jobs for injury and time off work. I'm not even kidding. We have a higher percentage than police and firefighters,
Way higher.
guys.
Oh wow,
Like
PSWs get
way
banged up
higher.
way more than police and firefighters.
Mm-hmm.
The most
Yeah.
dangerous job we perceive in society is police, and they do amazing work, but it's these PSWs that bear the brunt and get they're like the whipping posts of the system.
That's what my chiropractor said because he did a whole study with University of Waterloo on PSWs, and he would have PSWs coming in, and he would be adjusting them and checking them out to see what would happen. And he said, "You guys get the crap kicked out of you on the daily."
My God,
And I said,
yes,
"Absolutely, we do." And he says, "And it's treated like it's normal." And guys, it's not normal.
not normal.
No,
It's not
it's
normal.
not normal. I mean, sometimes it's going to happen, and I'm not doing this, but it does happen because we are dealing with people that, have cognitive impairments and, all sorts of stuff. But it's really not normal, and it needs to stop being touted as such.
And I know we don't go into this area a lot, but this is not just a PSW issue. This is something that also impacts the inability of PSWs because you don't have that strong, robust PSW population. Those behaviors and the impacts of those behaviors impact nurses, doctors, families. We met years ago with the CNA, the Canadian Nursing Association, and the suicide rate for nurses is high. Why is that the case? I'm speculating, and that's because the nurses do not have. They know that they're not the patients that they are caring for when they leave are not going to get care. I'm wondering if that's part of it. I don't know. I'm
You know what?
speculating.
I think it is a huge part of it. I mean, unfortunately, we've had members unalive themselves due to bullying and heartbreak when working in healthcare, which is just a reality of it. And I just want to remind everybody here that reach out. If you're having a tough time, if you're having a rough time, that's one of the reasons we're here as well, is to help you and guide you and be that support for you. Um, it's everybody in healthcare, and we all kind of get clogged into these hierarchy spots,
Yes, very
and
true.
and that really diminishes, I think, how much we can do as a team,
Well,
right?
we've once
Like,
said, if we're a hierarchy, where's the patient?
well, exactly. And at the end of the day, like we are a very patient-centered association at OPSWA and CANSWA. Like that is our
Yeah.
main focus, is the client, is the patient, is the resident, because the PSW is the closest to these individuals. And we have to ensure the PSWs are good so that they can take care of, those in their care. So I think we went a little dark on this, but as we
Let's go
normally
up a bit
do.
though. 2026 will be positive. There is reasons
Oh,
to be positive. And
oh,
it's Christmas, so
I
we
know,
believe.
and 2026 will be, and I've said it on TikTok Live many times, and I'll say it here. The amount of emails, phone calls, and people that have come up to the association when we are out doing public events, and members of the public that share their stories with us about I'm getting goosebumps, about their personal support workers and how much they impacted their lives if for the positive and enabled their loved ones to, maintain their dignity and independence until their last days is astounding. And I want every PSW on here to know that, and I've said it before, and I think I said it a few weeks ago, you guys really do make a difference. And even when you feel like you haven't, because I know those days where you feel like you were too rushed, like you didn't have enough time, it's the fact that you showed up. It's the fact that you showed up and you did your best. And people know that. People recognize that. And you become a very pinnacle part of their families. And they still talk about you guys years later to us. They really, really do. And I mean, I still have a client I took care of over a decade ago, and I still see her son every once in a while, and he'll come up to me and be like, "How you doing?" And all this. She's passed on. But you really do make that difference. And I want each and every one of you to sit back on this holiday season and recognize that and accept and recognize how important you are to the healthcare system. I don't care what your employer is saying. I don't care what the bullies are saying. I don't care what the unions are saying. I'm telling you, as a fellow PSW, as someone who sees this every single day and has our thumb on the heartbeat of PSWs, you matter. PSWs matter. Without PSWs, our system will topple. I'm not just saying that. And I want you to be proud to be a PSW because not just anybody can do that job. And I know I say that, but I'd really like to see some of the people in my life try to do the job of a PSW because not just anybody can do it. So I want you to be proud of yourself this holiday
Amen.
season and
Absolutely.
every single day and accept the fact that you're not beaten down, you're not downtrodden, you are irreplaceable. You're not replaceable. You are irreplaceable. Nobody can replace you. So stand up for yourself. Stand up, most importantly, for your resident, your client, or your patient as well. And smile because not just anyone can do your job. So
Agreed. And
I
let's
might
stick
have gone
together
on a
in 2020.
tangent there, but yeah,
No, but
that's
let's stick together in 2026. We have a lot to work. If we work together, we can make it a great year.
oh, we can make one hell of a year. It's going to be phenomenal. You guys are amazing. That's it for us for PSW Podcast for 2025. I appreciate all of you. Ian, do you have anything you'd like to say?
Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah, Happy Holidays to all of our members and PSWs working out there. If you have pictures of working Christmas holidays, send them to us.
Yeah. Send them to
Okay.
us. We'd love to showcase you guys and really praise you
Yes.
all for working over the holiday season. We're wishing you all the best with your families, your loved ones. Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah, Happy New Year. And with
Happy New
that,
Year.
guys, OPSWA will see you in 2026. And now we say, OPSWA out.